Hello everybody. Welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing great. Hope you're all doing well and that you're all having a wonderful day. Don't forget to leave a like. It is a free and easy way to support the channel. It helps out my algorithm and it helps other people find my channel as well. And without any further ado, let's jump right into it. It never ends, and it probably will never end. Sorry, I'm stretching. Oh, boy. Ow, my arm. I think I stretched too. Okay. So, what we have right now, if you've been missing it, I'm not honestly sure how you've managed to do it. We currently have information that apparently a number of countries and cities and states around the world are going to begin adopting Bitcoin over the course of 2025. When I say this, as many other things, the way that I assume the way that the world works is people become very desensitized and or very blasé to any kind of news. I won't go into that topic, but I have a friend who was just telling me something very dramatic that happened to him, and apparently it happened 2 years before, and then 4 years before that. And he was like, yeah, but it's just life. And I was like, nope, what you went through was actually traumatizing and should have never been a thing. So I think the same exact thing is very true for finance, and especially for the cryptocurrency space. If we get told all the time, these really big numbers, these really big figures, they kind of become commonplace. In the very beginning, if someone told you when Bitcoin was 12 cents, that Bitcoin at some point would be $10, you would go, I don't think that's going to happen. You sound crazy. I'm going to walk away. If Bitcoin's $10 and someone says 1,000, you go, wow. So you're also drinking the Kool-Aid. Got it. If Bitcoin's at $800 and someone says Bitcoin's going to $106,000 per coin, they would sound nuts. It's kind of the same in the same exact way. In the earlier days, we would get news that some company, some person had bought $30,000 worth of Bitcoin, and everyone was like, that's crazy. Who's buying that much Bitcoin at one time? That news then became this company bought $500,000 worth of Bitcoin, which seemed unfathomable. Bitcoin's this brand new thing. Who's spending $500,000 to buy that much Bitcoin? That became 1.4 million. That became 16 million. Understand, by 2017 standards and 2025 standards, 16 million US dollars is still a gigantic amount of money. You will never have to work again, ever, with $16 million if you invest it properly. Even buying $16 million worth of Bitcoin now puts you into the 1% of the 1%. We're not talking about 0.28 Bitcoin here. The problem is that 16 million becomes 25 million, becomes 100 million, becomes MicroStrategy trying to raise $500 million. And this is why I kept on saying all those other videos. I was like, all right, this is it. This is when, the big things are going to happen, because these aren't small numbers, but being desensitized to hearing these numbers all the time kind of puts it in a place where people go, okay, well, yeah, it's happening again, but Bitcoin's price isn't moving, because you're not seeing the wider, the larger, the longer, the upper and the lower picture. Like, it's just not within your range to kind of get it. Hearing that a company has bought $3.4 billion worth of Bitcoin in one go should send shivers up and down your spine that you and your family and your friends do not have enough Bitcoin and rich people are going to buy all of it. It should be immediate. You should, I gotta chill. MicroStrategy must have bought more Bitcoin. Like, that kind of thing should actually be taking place. It's kind of similar to now how people are having discussions that probably are, let's be honest, that we're going to see our first trillionaire within the next decade or so. I have thoughts, but I will not say them. So, the news the last couple of months, no one's giving me the energy that I need for such a thing. 2017 us would be going completely insane over this kind of news every single day. And the lack of energy that I'm constantly getting from people who just don't care about any of this is just excessively weird to a large part of me. In the news today, what the fudge? Okay, that popped up out of nowhere. Jeez Louise. Bitcoin might just be getting its official stamp of approval worldwide. This is according to Franklin Templeton. In 2025, they have a crypto outlook. All these companies have like an analysis for where they think things are going in the future. The asset manager predicted that several nations will start holding Bitcoin as part of their strategic reserves. The issue is, my friends, is that no one seems to care. And I don't know if it's because of being desensitized. I don't know if it's because of the current state of the world, the current state of finance, the way that things are, that everything seems relatively blasé continuously. Once again, I know that it's not just in crypto. It seems to be in every facet of every corner of everything. Remember I told you all these videos I've seen online where they're asking people, do you have money to retire? And everyone's like, no. And I probably never will. Or them like chuckling as they're walking down the street, or people making videos talking about how high their rent is, but there doesn't seem to be like a glimmer of hope in their eyes at all. It's just kind of like, well, everything's terrible. That's just the way that things are going to be. But I dare say this, not only are you early in this entire cryptocurrency experiment, B, you see that it's working. So I would assume that people in crypto would be the most hyped, would be the most enthusiastic, would be the most willing to actually, the word's not invest more. But you see what's happening, right? You see what's taking place, and no one actually seems to care. And I don't think that many people will. And it's not even until it's too late. I think just in general. I think, imagine by April or May, we hear of 4 other countries, not cities, not states, countries who announce that they're going to be buying 10 Bitcoin every single day because they need it, they gotta have it. I don't think people in crypto would actually care. I'm also like on the fence as to if people will care if the US starts buying Bitcoin. I think that people will understand that it's significant, but the actual like excitement there, I don't think that there's going to be that much excitement from a lot of people in crypto. I think Bitcoin maximalists will understand what's going on, but a lot of people will simply look at altcoins, waiting for the price to go higher so that they can cash out because they don't see the longevity in any part of this market. These are all my viewpoints. Franklin Templeton is not the first company, analytical firm, to tell us that they think that something like this is going to happen. A lot of these companies years ago said like Bitcoin's going to 100K, and no one in crypto cared either. It was like, oh, okay, cool. Well, Bitcoin's currently at $4,000, so good luck with that one. And people might, skeptical things, and people make YouTube videos. And then when it actually happens and Bitcoin goes to 100K, and the people go, well, Bitcoin's going to 1 million, they go, okay, well, tell me how it is when you get there. So now we've entered the point where like Bitcoinization is happening. Nations have realized that fiat currencies aren't working. That by holding Bitcoin, you become richer. The more Bitcoin you have, the richer you are in the next 5 years, in the next 10 years, in the next 100 years, because Bitcoin will be mined for the next 120 years. And then to have people in crypto not care, like I said before, it's kind of gross. The firm stated that Bitcoin's role as a digital store of value will only solidify further thanks to growing institutional and sovereign adoption. If you missed it, we heard from about, I think, 6 or 7 different states within the United States, apart from DC, who were all talking about buying Bitcoin. These, I think, are going to happen. Like, without a shadow of a doubt. We have information before from Novogratz, Max Kaiser, and the other, I don't know this guy's name. This guy on Twitter is fairly popular as well. We know that other countries are buying. The rumors have been, multiple places, but we got like a lot of attention drawn to the UAE as far as like their buying power and what they're currently doing. But I do think I really give it 2 or 3 months. I really think that Florida, Texas, Connecticut, and a bunch of other places will begin even before we hear news that the US's reserve has actually begun. According to the report, 2025 could mark a turning point. I would even dare say 2023 marked a turning point when we heard at the end of the year that we were going to have BlackRock try and secure a Bitcoin ETF. And I think the other turning point was hearing that institutions in 10 months accumulated 1.1 million Bitcoin. The other turning point was in summertime. If you weren't here, what is that beeping noise? Something's been beeping in the room for the past hour, and I don't know what it is. Anyway, I think the other turning point was also hearing in summertime when we got the news that people had to file with the SEC, and then people online were finding that information from the SEC's website, and they found out that multiple different countries and their sovereign funds were also investing hundreds of millions of dollars per country into Bitcoin. And then I think the other turning point was upon around August, when we saw more filings and we saw that a number of larger banks and central banks had also been buying up Bitcoin ETF shares. So I think we're well beyond the actual turning point. This is just another iteration of what already has been going on. And yet, near radio silence, as no one seems to actually care where all of this is going. Remember when I said before, and I've said in multiple other videos, I think a lot of people are going to be very upset with themselves and also the situation where they realize where all of this is going. You know, this isn't going backwards, right? You know that this will only progress forward, more in the actual direction of Bitcoin hitting $10 million a coin. We're going to see more increased adoption. We're going to see more money into the space. We're going to see Bitcoin be adopted by everyone, and it will be everywhere. You foresee all of this, right? You've been here every day, every 24 hours, we get this news. You see the adoption levels, right? You see the amount of money that's pouring into the space. Okay. 2025 could mark a turning point, with crypto technologies becoming deeply ingrained in global financial systems. This isn't just theoretical. Some major players, and they even added in new ones, are already testing the waters. At the end of December, a member of Hong Kong's Legislative Council suggested Bitcoin be added to the nation's reserves to boost financial stability. And I need to be completely clear here. There have been about 22, that's not a fake number, around 22 instances of politicians around the world announcing that they think, or basically trying to propose to their government, that Bitcoin should be added to their reserves. I will also add, in many of these countries, I've seen sometimes some kind of optimism or the news becomes really popular when this happens. However, if you dig deeper and you actually look at who some of these politicians are, they're usually insane. And I don't mean that in a joking way. I mean if you look at their track record, so a lot of the countries usually the information doesn't hold weight. And this is why when we get information explicitly, like when we hear from the mayor of this place or the governor of this state being like, hey, we're working on legislation, that's far more solid than someone who has a history of being interesting, standing up in parliament, crying out Bitcoin, like that kind of thing, and it's like, oh, he's different. Citing El Salvador and Bhutan as pioneers, he argued that adopting Bitcoin could bolster Hong Kong's financial resilience. Hong Kong has been a major player in Bitcoin for a while. I do not know, I have not looked up this legislative council member. However, Hong Kong is I could see that actually happening within that country just because of their history with Bitcoin. They also don't have it here. There's a proposal for some Swiss city to also have a Bitcoin reserve as well. Where was the other one? There was some other country who looks like they're actually going to do it. What we're seeing now, at least now, is that cities and states and provinces are probably going to be doing it a lot quicker than the actual entirety of a government. Bhutan's doing it, El Salvador's doing it, and I think the Central African Republic. But I really think it's going to be the smaller players who get in first. They start accumulating tons of it, and then eventually it becomes like a nationwide thing. I think so you have to understand the people who run and control these countries, and they do so with power and with money. And if the money switches from their local currency into Bitcoin, they lose all of that power. So I think the smaller places will begin first. I think it's really weird to think that Germany or Hong Kong or, any major country, this is why I said, this is why the US is such a big thing. The US, in essence, kind of runs and controls the world and has been doing so since the late 1940s, but they've also done so by the power of the US dollar. If they tell people we are foregoing, something happened outside. We are foregoing the US dollar and we'll be pumping money into Bitcoin instead. Bitcoin's here forever. That's what I think a lot of people don't get. It seems like a dream or what's the word? Almost like a TV show to them. You don't understand the actual idea of what that means to be getting rid of something that has had a strong hold on the world for 80 years. 80 years. Pushing it to the side and saying, no, now it's time for Bitcoin. This is why we saw the price move up before around November, because other countries were like, all right, it's on. Let's start doing this. But if the power continues to move into Bitcoin's hands and Bitcoin goes even higher and other cities and states and nations begin to adopt it, I'm very excited. You have no idea. We've heard at least 118 rumors over the course of this year about countries who are buying Bitcoin. I'm very excited to see who's going to actually do it, or who's been doing it, or who's buying right now. It says, meanwhile, in Germany, the Free Democratic Party, the FDP, has voiced support for using Bitcoin as a reserve asset to strengthen the European monetary system. Okay. Franklin Templeton predicts that Bitcoin's global adoption will accelerate as crypto transitions from speculation to utility. The support and approval of US spot ETFs has already driven institutional interest, a trend likely to grow under clearer regulations. Oh yeah. We're also a couple of days away. Woo, yeah. To seeing the actual new SEC in action and what they're going to do. And how many people are going to be filing cryptocurrency ETFs within the next 2 to 3 weeks? Yeah, that's going to be a major thing because the expectations are that basically the ETFs are going to flow like digital milk and honey, and everyone will get one and every coin will get one. So if that continues, I'm just excited to see where this is going to go. I don't know if you got that from the last couple of years of this channel. I'm very excited. I want to see where this all leads, how this transforms. I'm not excited to see the people who are going to realize that they squandered literal multi-generational wealth by sitting on the sidelines. It's kind of like all those people years ago who kept on waiting for Bitcoin to fall back down to re-enter the market. And I was like, good luck to thee. I hope it works out. And then Bitcoin would pump by like 7,000 and they're like, I wanted it to go lower. And it's like, well, it doesn't really matter if you buy at 30,000, 70,000 or 100,000, because if Bitcoin goes to $13 million, guess what? You're still a millionaire. So, just throwing out some logic there. Anyway, the article continues going on. It's basically Franklin Templeton talking about where they think this year is going to go, levels of adoption in the countries. I'm excited. Yeah. All right. Let's move on because I have so much more that I want to say, but it's basically just like tons of rambling and I'm tired of rambling right now. Okie dokie. Let's move on. Also in popular news, Thailand is planning to do what the ex-Prime Minister Thaksin Shinawatра's proposal for a Bitcoin pilot payment project. A lot of Southeast Asia has done extremely well when it comes to adopting and kind of also like not banning Bitcoin. There were a couple of countries years ago in Southeast Asia who did ban cryptocurrencies, but a lot of other ones were just like more cautious. So now Thailand's in the news about trying to have some kind of it's a bit of a weird story simply because they're trying to do something that the last prime minister wanted. And also they're talking about having a pilot project for Bitcoin payments, as opposed to realizing that Bitcoin already does payments on its own. So we're getting in it once again. I appreciate that governments and cities and places are accepting Bitcoin, in some ways adopting Bitcoin, maybe even buying Bitcoin, a lot of them are trying to create like a framework and a system for Bitcoin payments, but Bitcoin's blockchain already does the payments. It's like you have an apple tree outside of your house, and instead of you going to pick an apple and then go back inside the house, I pick the apple, I take it to a local supermarket, I make them pay me a fee for giving them the apple. You get into your car, you go to the supermarket to find that exact same apple, and then you pay a premium on it even though it grew for free outside of your window. It's so convoluted. It's the same exact thing like I said before with Visa. Visa trying to get you to send your Ether, and then they send it through their system, and then it goes to the person you're trying to send it to. It's literal nonsense. But this made popular news for the sake of adoption. The pilot, which aims to foster Thailand's tech-savvy investors, will be backed by Binance. Binance's Thai arm has called for the Bank of Thailand's oversight, emphasizing that the nation must not be left behind. Speaking to the Bangkok Post, I can't say that name, Nirun Futwatanan Anukul, Chief Executive of Gulf Binance, highlighted Thailand's potential in leading digital innovation. He said that there is a need for a regulatory framework to tackle the industry's volatility and monetary stability risks. It's kind of weird that we've gotten to the point where companies have to like pretend. What is that? I want to know exactly what that beeping is. I'm going to have to like search this room after. It's really weird that people like pretend They're like Bitcoin doesn't do it on its own, or like they kind of like patting these countries on the head. Like, yeah, you did it. Good job. You're adopting Bitcoin. A regulatory framework I understand from the vantage point of DeFi, or all these brand new coins and these scams and these rug pulls and all these other things like that. But these chains already do what these governments are trying to build or trying to put into like an actual framework. It's just, oh, okay. Shino Watra's proposal for a Bitcoin pilot is extremely positive for the digital industry, he noted. It reflects not only the momentum of global crypto adoption, but also demonstrates that leaders at the highest level are embracing these transformative technologies, I would assume. Now, really hear me out here. I would assume that the ex-prime minister also has Bitcoin. I find it nearly impossibly unlikely that any government leader, ex or otherwise, would propose a crypto Bitcoin pilot payment system without actually holding the actual asset themselves. So this was very popular news. I was actually a little surprised simply because it's about Thailand. That's not being mean. It's just more of a, we never hear about Thailand in the news ever. There's never crypto news about Thailand ever. We get a lot about Japan. We get a lot about South Korea. We get a lot about Hong Kong and a gentle sprinkling of Singapore, but never actually Thailand. So upon hearing this news came out for such a tiny country, what have you, it made very popular news. I hope it works out. I hope they do what they need to get done so that this all ends up going through. But, and I say this in the nicest way possible, no matter what happens, Bitcoin is going to succeed. Bitcoin's going to thrive. Bitcoin's going to continue. It's just a matter of like not being late, not being at the end of the line, making sure that you catch the bus. Because for every country who doesn't adopt it, 2 other countries are going to adopt it. For every country who refuses to buy, 5 other countries are going to buy. And they're going to get richer. Bitcoin's price is going to go higher. And then those other countries will realize that they kind of missed out. There's only 21 million that can ever be made. 19 million has been mined, and 6 million are lost and gone forever. Bitcoin's not infinite. You can fractionalize it as much as you want, but if you are a country and you don't have 10,000 Bitcoin, well, guess what, buddy boy? You're definitely left out. So, yeah, I hope it works out for them. I hope they find whatever research they need to do, and I hope that their early adoption pays off, sincerely, because so many places have continuously made sure to try and act like this wasn't going to be the biggest thing in the entire world, and as Bitcoin continues growing, so does the wealth. I do hope that you've all enjoyed. I do hope you all are having a great day. Morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are, wherever the heck you might be. I do hope it's absolutely fantastic. Thank you all once again for watching, listening, liking the video, commenting on the video, and subscribing to the channel. And I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.